I'm not going to pretend like I'm not super excited about this one. The new YSL Elixir, but with an L in front of it, basically. But yeah, this is a little bit of a surprise, although not really, because, well, after all, every brand now is going to put out their version of some sort of elixir. And with the success of Y Eau de Parfum Intense, or at least in my opinion, it's a successful release, and the fact that it smells really good, and I think it was a flanker that made a lot of sense. I'm really excited to try this one out. The note breakdown is quite a bit different than all of the others as well, which is something exciting. So we're gonna go ahead and bust into this one today and see what it's all about. Let's cover a couple quick little facts about this one really quickly here. First of all, at the time of me recording this, which is when this first came out, like it just came out, it's only available in a 60 ml bottle, 2 ounce, just like Sauvage Elixir, you know, Gucci Guilty Elixir, and so on. The elixirs, they're really kind of sizing down the bottle and upping up the price big time. So 2 ounce, 60 ml, $180 at retail. Yes, $180. It is getting rough out there. I wish I could say that I had a link for you right now that could get you this for $100, but I don't. It just came out. I'm sure here in the future, some discounters are going to be popping this one in for a pretty substantial price below that. Jump on my mailing list, texting list, and I promise you will be the first to hear it from me when this one drops in below retail. But in the meantime, if you want this, you're going to have to pony up and pay the big bucks for it. They didn't send this to me. I had no idea this was coming out until I checked Macy's new arrivals and saw it. So here we are right now. Purchased it myself, 1-day shipping. Let's go ahead and bust into it and see how it is. I wish I got these for free. Contrary to popular belief, everybody thinks that they send out free bottles to all the reviewers and stuff, but it doesn't work that way. At least it doesn't for me. So with the price that these are going for, I really do wish I got them for free, but I don't. So that's okay. I'm fine with paying for it. I'm excited. So, and here it is. So right away, Y Eau de Parfum Intense leaning, because it is absent of that apple. So the apple in the Eau de Parfum Le Parfum was so sweet, so strong. The Eau de Parfum Intense got rid of that completely, and that's the same thing here. You're getting none of that off the top. Instead, you're getting a very aromatic and very prominent green note. Now, just taking a glance at the note breakdown, I saw geranium big time. A heavy player here. Minty, green, aromatic geranium. I mean, that is one of the main key players here. It gives it a kind of a refreshing, cooling smell also. So that's something that's kind of notable here. Let's take a look at the note breakdown just to kind of get that out of the way. Up top, we have lavender in the mid, geranium in the base, oud, and frankincense. And those two notes there, especially the oud, was throwing me off when I was looking at the notes, because that's unheard of in the Y lineup. And currently, I'm not really getting a whole lot of that oud. It's not coming through to me yet. The frankincense, a little bit, but no oud yet. So I thought this was going to go a different way, and I was prepared for it, but it's not. So for some of you, that's probably a breath of fresh air. That's a relief that it's not oud focused, because you might not like it. For others of you that were hoping for like an oud forward YSL Y, so far that's not it. I will give credit where credit is due and say that this has, again, to double down on this, a very refreshing, cooling, uplifting, but also enhanced and rich type of delivery. You would obviously expect that to some extent due to the fact that this is an elixir flanker, and generally when you look at the progression of all of the other brands that are putting out elixirs, usually the strength, the concentration, the scent itself is going to be a lot heavier, richer, and stronger, and that's also the case here, but just not in a way to where it no longer smells like YSL Y, because at the end of the day, that DNA is a clean, soapy, fresh, aromatic, and slightly sweet scent profile. And if you were to really start to beef it up and bulk it up and add a lot of external notes that don't really go along with those, you're kind of losing the essence of a YSL Y. And so I think they did a great job of still maintaining a very familiar scent within this lineup. This does not smell out of place to me. When you put your nose on this one, you can tell that it's a YSL Y flanker. As it's settling down, the oud still isn't really coming through a ton yet, but the geranium is still kicking strong. You're getting a lot of that lavender, the frankincense giving it kind of an almost smoky brightness, almost kind of similar to how an olibandum comes across. Almost like an elemi too, I'm kind of getting some of that. They're not listing amberwood or ambroxan or ambergris or anything like that. I think they've taken that out of a couple recent flankers, but it's still there. They're not listing sage, right? But it's there. Aromatics, it's very prominent in the EDP and the Eau de Parfum Intense and Le Parfum, and you can still pick up on it here. A few other notes are missing, like vetiver. You would see that used in the others, and I still kind of get a little bit of that here. That's providing more of a woody support than the oud is currently. Again, kind of peeking at the clock here, we're only 6 minutes into me wearing this one, and so, you know, it's a lot can change later on, and I'm not going to be shooting this video for several hours. So, you know, in a full review or in passing list videos, I'll update you guys on how the oud plays out towards the end, but so far it's not really showing itself too much. Ultimately, is this one going to be a must buy? And, you know, I'm just going to shoot it straight and say that it's getting hard to recommend that at these retail prices. It just is. I mean, not even 100 milliliters and it's that much money, $180. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you need to go out and buy this right now. I would advise probably not to do so at retail. Luckily, you know, once these start coming in stock on discounters, it's a pretty significant drop, you know, that retail to discounter rate. It doesn't get cheap by any means, but, you know, the savings is enough to make it worth holding out for, in my opinion. Take a look at the new Acqua di Gio Parfum. It retails for $198 for 125 ml. Much better price per milliliter for sure, but that one has been popping up on discounters for as low as $120, $125, which is still expensive, but compared to that retail price, that's hefty savings. And so I would hope that this one can come off of that price quite a bit, you know, here within maybe a few weeks to a couple months or something. Now, obviously, I bit the bullet and I paid full retail price for this one. I have it in my hand right now and I'm wearing it. And I have to say, I really like it a lot. Now, I'm a big fan of the Y line in general. Again, the Eau de Parfum Intense, I think, was probably one of their best releases, one of their most strategic releases, and one that made the most sense, okay? And I think taking the price and everything else aside on this opinion here is that this one follows in a similar footstep to the Eau de Parfum Intense. It goes in another direction of being a bit heavier and a lot more green, a lot more minty, a lot more zesty, a lot more refreshing. And again, it might not seem that way when you think about it and when you look at the note breakdown, but this would be a great summertime scent. It doesn't look like it would be, but when you smell this one, you'll see what I mean. It's uplifting, it's vibrant, it's effervescent, it's bright. I could see this one being a huge star when it's warm outside, and that's coming up. This one's coming in at a parfum concentration. I would hope so, and in typical Elixir fashion, it is. And so I would imagine, just kind of based off of this starting point, it's going to be a good performer. The EDP, Le Parfum, Eau de Parfum Intense are all good performers. I would imagine this one is probably going to do the same, if not better, because again, the Le Parfum is not a true parfum. I believe it's an Eau de Parfum Intense. The EDP, obviously in the name, and the Eau de Parfum Intense, obviously in the name. So this is the first true parfum within the Y lineup. And so far, so good. It's not losing any power yet. And believe it or not, some weak fragrances out there will kind of suffer a pretty significant drop not too long after you get it on your skin. And so sometimes when you spray something and have it on for 10, 15 minutes, you can kind of get an idea of if it's going to be a good performer or not. If it drops off pretty quickly, chances are it's not going to be in it for the long run. But if it stays strong, you know, through that first little bit, there's a chance that it'll be a good performer. It's not 100% accurate. A lot of the times it can still drop off. But, I mean, so far so good. It's still kicking really strong. It has the same level of intensity now as when I first sprayed it on, so that is a good sign. Overall, I like it a lot. I think it's going to be a great release. It's expensive. It's hard to recommend these things at these prices, but they're not really going away from that. And so, you know, your best bet is going to be to just wait around, and once it hits discounters, you'll be able to pick it up for a bit below that. I mean, look at Sauvage Elixir. That stuff is crazy expensive. It's retailing for around the same price as this, and it's still selling like crazy. So clearly there's a market for it, and clearly if the scent is good enough, people are going to spend the money on it. And I think this one would definitely warrant a purchase at some point, depending on what your experience and history is with the Y lineup. If you like them, this would probably be something you're going to be interested in. And even if you weren't a big fan of the Eau de Parfum, the Le Parfum, this one, with it not having any of that sweetness, might be an attractive approach. New YSL Y Elixir, that's my first impressions. I'm excited to wear this one more. I can't wait to see how it performs, how it develops. And again, still, the oud is not really showing itself too much, so no worries there. Like I said, if you jump on my mailing list and texting list down below, you will be the first to know about when this one hits discounters. I promise you. And it's going to sell quick. If you want to be notified, jump on those and I'll get you taken care of. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.